Bueller, anybody?
Corey, hear us now?
Yeah, bus driver driving us around everywhere, so.
Test.
There it is. Wow. All right. Green is on over here.
Time is 6 p.m. I will call to order the October 8th meeting of the Huxley City Council. Roll call, please.
Etcher,
Here.
Mulder,
Here.
Murphy,
Here.
Rigler,
Here.
Roberts. Here.
Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll give you a motion, Mulder.
Second.
Any discussion and or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now is the time in the agenda for public comment. If anybody wishes to speak on any non-agenda items, this would be the time. Just ask that you come to the podium and start with your name and address, please, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
The,
Thank you.
Works good. Perfect. Good job. Thank you. You know my name and address by now, but Shirley Crippen, 485 Bella Vista Court. I'm here tonight to ask you to consider changing the fireworks ordinance to 3 days. However, this time we ask that those days be July 4th and the Friday and Saturday prior to the 4th or following the 4th. If the 4th fell on a Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, the Friday and Saturday prior to the 4th could be fireworks days. If it fell on a Wednesday or Thursday, it could be the Friday and Saturday following the 4th, or you can set a consistent Friday and Saturday. This change would allow fireworks on the 4th. It would also accommodate those that want family and friend gatherings on the weekend, which is what we heard 2 weeks ago was the biggest request from the other folks that were here. It would also accommodate the people that have to work on the 4th. This change would be a compromise for everyone that has voiced opinions on this ordinance. Compromise is what we're asking of you. I've spoken with some of the people whose names appeared on our 115 name petition, and we all feel that the vote taken 2 weeks ago was unfair and biased. Mr. Murphy often commented, why are we changing the ordinance for this one person? So we brought you 115 voice petition to show you that there's not just one person that wants change. However, at your last meeting, you voted to keep the 7-day ordinance based upon only 4 voices, 2 of which stand to receive financial gain from your decision. 115 and 4 seems hardly fair. I attended every meeting while you were considering this ordinance change, and not once did I hear a discussion concerns regarding the impact the ordinance has on our veterans or our neurodivergent adults and children. There were a couple comments about the impact on pets. Mr. Mulder mentioned that his dog didn't seem to have a problem with the fireworks. It just stayed in the closet until they were done. Now imagine that that wasn't your dog. Imagine that was your autistic child that was hiding in that closet for 7 days and 7 nights. That's what autistic children do in those situations. They look for a place to hide, to get away from the noise and the flashing of the fireworks because they're terrified. I've worked with neurodivergent children and adults for over 30 years. I have multiple friends that are Vietnam vets, and I've owned pets all my life. I have seen firsthand the pain caused by the noise and the flashing of fireworks on these populations. I do not understand the lack of compassion shown for the vets in our community, the neurodivergent population, and the people that have pets. We are asking you for change. We are asking you for a compromise. Is that really too much to ask from you? Please consider this ordinance change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shirley. Anybody else wishing to speak tonight on any non-agenda items? Ask that you start with your name and address in 5 minutes, please.
Still green. Adam Walters, 1005 Ballard Drive. Just curious on the construction side of things with developments, is there any sort of, I don't know if ordinance is the right word, but from a dust control, air pollutant perspective, obviously we're in a drought. The spring didn't start that way, but now we're in a drought. So with the dust behind us, you know, should development be controlled in that regard? I'm just curious.
I can certainly have staff circle back to you. This isn't, as you
Yeah.
might know, it's not the time for dialogue, between, but I can
Yep.
certainly have staff get back to you on that.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anybody else wishing to speak this evening? See no one rise. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll give you a motion. I can second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Etcher.
Yes.
All right, item 5A this evening is the presentation by Mackenzie Daughtry regarding the Kids Club Lights On event. Hopefully-
Hello, I am Mackenzie Doherty and I am the Ballard Site Supervisor for YSS Kids Club.
And I'm Katie Highland. I am the lead coordinator for the Kids Club program.
So we do Ballard Kids Club before and after school program. And it is a program that is provided by YSS in coordination with the Ballard Community School District. Our program runs before and after school at Ballard West Elementary School in Slater. We are open on planned early outs, late starts, and no school days, including winter and spring breaks. We also provide all-day programming during summer break. Kids Club is open to all children in grades kindergarten through 6th grade, and fees are based on a sliding scale, so it is affordable for everyone. Through grant support, we offer tuition scholarships to families in need as well. Our goal is to make the program affordable for everyone.
The mission of the Kids Club program is to provide a safe, nurturing, and stimulating environment where the kids can learn and grow. Research tells us that the hours between 2 and 6 p.m. are the peak hours for juvenile crime, along with the experimentation of drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes. So our program is a place for the kids to have for the families to have their kids come where it's safe and they can learn new concepts, explore ideas, build relationships with different adults and peers, along with engage in physical activities. Today, we want to invite you guys to our Lights On event. October is a national initiative to celebrate after-school programs and their importance to children, families, and communities. On October 29th from 5 to 7 p.m., we will be hosting an open house, and we would like all of you to join. The kids picked a Minion-themed party this year. So we really hope that you all join us for our party. We do have some invites for you guys as well. The kids made the invites for you guys. And there are a few different handouts about our program in that packet as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, moving along, any department reports? If so, I'll ask you to come up to the podium, please.
So just wanted to provide a couple of updates with some park board happenings. The thing that you're looking at is what Jonathan from Park Board and myself, along with Nels Nord and Jolene Lettle from Huxley Historical Society, went out to Boone last Monday and looked at a couple different possibilities for what they have envisioned for the space behind the amphitheater at Railroad Park that the city has recently cleared a lot of dead trees on. So Huxley Historical Society is wanting to purchase and refurbish the exterior of this and have it moved on site as a historical thing for our community to enjoy. This would be something that is 100% paid for by Huxley Historical Society. They'll be purchasing, sandblasting, repainting the exterior, and all the pictures that you see in the interior is how it would come with all the original features. This particular unit is currently on display at the Boone Historical Railroad Museum. So that is what I'm just visually showing you. We've talked about this for a while. We have a plan that we've shared with you before about what we're seeing in that back portion. The caboose or the rail car would be the focal point, and then we would have nature trails and benches with prairie grass and trees. And then for future gazebo possibly in the back area so that people in the community have a place to wander and also take pictures at the bridge, which already gets used quite a bit, and then in natural prairie grasses. So that is something that I want to make obviously open to you for any questions or concerns. The Historical Society has not met to finalize, but they've pretty much given us the verbal confirmation that they are wanting to do this as long as that we don't see any issues. This particular unit would be on rail ties that are also included with the price, and that does include delivery. It is around a $50,000 project that they're spending for this. They're not asking us to do anything other than obviously collaborate with them on this venture. It would be fenced in. It would not be open all the time. It would be open for special events, for tours and things like that. So are there any questions specifically about that particular thing?
So is this like a 42-inch high fence, or is this a 8-foot with barbed wire on top? I mean, I'm just wondering, will there be lighting around there and protected from vandals or cameras or something, just, you know?
So if you look in the picture, there's a black wrought iron fence around it currently, and that's kind of what we're thinking. We want it to be aesthetically pleasing for anybody that's walking around. We have talked about the fact that with the cameras that we have on site that we can see in the office, the people who installed those said that we will be able to have a satellite camera at Nordkelsum so that we're able to see the splash pad. So what we're hoping is that we could get another satellite camera from that to Railroad and that would have a visual. That's our hope for preventing issues. I don't have any verification on that yet, but that's what Park Board discussed yesterday.
So with that, I'm assuming there probably need to be a light there to shine or something where you.
We haven't talked about that particular thing.
Just wondering what costs for the city, what responsibility, liabilities of folks with the rail car there.
Yeah, and I can investigate that. I have not done anything on that regard yet. Yeah, I can investigate that and follow up with you though.
That might be an option. At the conference I was at in Pittsburgh, the last couple of years, they've had a company that has solar lights that you're seeing pop around in parking lots and parks and things. So if it was looking like putting in like 1 or 2 units, that would be solar. That's something that we could certainly take a look at as well and look at that cost versus, you know, having a pole and wires.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about just different city costs for parks. We have a lot of parks that still, you know, after 20 years could use more improvements and additional costs to go towards that. How do you weigh which is the best usage? We're going to have some new parks coming on with the area on Westview. You know, what's the plan for, what's the bigger picture plan to balance out the budget for parks and recs and entertainment for, you know, the community in those areas? We're already investing a whole bunch of money on splash pad stuff, you know, which is going to make a big improvement in that park. You know, where does that money run out, or where do we find that there?
So in response to that, this is not something that we're investing in. This is a free gift that we're getting from them. It's not something we pursued necessarily from them either. Honestly, what we envision is having I have a small budget of around $7,000 for park improvements. And so what we're envisioning is getting this out there at some point in the next year or two. It's not gonna happen right away. And then doing other gradual improvements with our yearly budgets. This is not anything like a CIP, which I have already put that together for you guys to look at for next year or for next week when you meet. It's not a big ticket item. The nature walk and all those things are stuff that we can do ourselves. And the benches are minimal, a couple $100 a piece, and those are some things that we can install ourselves. So again, large feature wise, this is a small thing that we can easily do to beautify the area. Right now, it's just sitting there empty. So that was the vision behind all of this. Oh, no, in fact, the next thing I was gonna talk to you about is that, which goes with that, is that the tree board, as you are aware, we were attempting to do a planting on Ridgewood, which we ended up not doing. We were able to transfer that grant money to parks. So we just marked them out prior to coming to this meeting. We are planning on planting trees out there. I believe there are 12 at the lot at Railroad. There are 17 at Westview Heights, just to get some movement happening out there. And then the rest of them are at Burhow to replace some damaged trees, and then at Larson to replace some damaged trees. So we were able to get 53 trees with that grant. So $5,000 was given to us for that.
So the ones on Westview Heights, where were those planted at?
Well, they aren't planted, they're just tagged. I just actually did the you dig thing. Those are on the perimeter on the west and the east side, because we don't want to have any issues with our future our planning for the parking lot and then the parks. So they are running where the lift station is, parallel, so north, and then on the side as well, where there's a ridge.
Right there at the ravine.
Mm-hmm. Yep, my tree board, 3 of them were out there with me this afternoon marking those. And then Rocky will be digging holes, and then the plan is to have a planting next Saturday.
So you also said something about the bridge being a focal point.
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed the bridge and what are we gonna do with the bridge, because it's not in good shape. So, yeah, that's something we probably need to address also.
Okay, any other questions about the rail car? I'll give you updates as I get them. Nothing would be happening anytime soon. Just wanted to give you a visual.
Would,
And then-
Heather, would some of those trees then behind the amphitheater be cut down so you can see it from the railroad park? Or would they need to be cleaned out or?
No, the vision is to
that?
see it on Main Street, honestly, so that when you are, because Main Street, as we know with Gardner's development, it's gonna connect. So we will have City Hall and all the buildings here, and then we'll have the splash pad in North Towson Park, and then we have downtown, quote unquote. And then we have Railroad Park, and then that site to help connect all to down there, so. It is actually, it's this way, it's not facing, I'm vertically challenged, it runs parallel to the amphitheater. You'll see the side of it, and then when you're, no.
So is it gonna
Yeah.
look east and west or north and south? East and west.
Sounds good.
If it's going parallel, it's gotta be over.
You'll see it when you're going south, you'll easily be able to see it. It'll be wide open as you're going south, but yes, there will be trees on the backside between it and Whistle Stop as well, to make a nice little cove. So, okay. And then the other thing I wanted to give you an update on, I know I do have an item on the work session as well, but Otis. So we've talked to you about the Otis elevator system. We being myself, Dave, and Barb, spoke with the new person, the Matt Malm, who we had met with prior, is no longer at the company. Robin Lockwood is now at the company, and she told us that after reviewing the call log and the maintenance records at our particular elevator, she does not recommend that we do anything for those projects. She said we do not need the Hydro Enhance, which we were told we did need, which was 24,000 or something. She said, we absolutely do not need that. There's absolutely no reason we would have to do that. We could still update the door operator, but we don't have to do that. The question that was asked to us by council last time was, if we upgraded to that full service, we thought you had to do those upgrades to get it covered. She said, if we update our service agreement and have a full service, every single thing in our elevator is currently covered. Now, the caveat with that is that it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. So if it was some emergency that happened on the weekend, it'd be different. And then it does not cover obsolescence, which means if there is an obsolete part that they cannot find a replacement for and had to be custom made, that would not be covered. And then abuse, vandalism, or acts of God is what she said. But other than that, if we go to that full service, we're covered 100% by our, if we update this. So we moved forward and said that we would like to do that as of November 1st at this point in time. It's 150 monthly. And we were paying 80 something monthly for the basic one prior.
And then if we had to call them out, it was like a minimum
Of
$500 for them to come, so.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to update you on that. That was a good call. So. And then if we do need to, I know, Kathy is still working on a grant to possibly get toward that door operating system. So if we were to be awarded a grant, then we would probably replace that, but the Hydro Enhance is off the table at this point. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you very much for your updates. Okay. Barb, any comments this evening? David? Mr. Murphy?
At this moment.
Mr. Mulder? Mr. Ingby? Just one reminder, we've discussed a goal setting. That meeting is currently scheduled for Monday at 6 p.m. Please bring your thoughts, ideas. It might be, hey, I'd like to see some additional lighting in a park, or I want to invest more in Main Street, or whatever it might be. Could be broad, could be very narrow. So please bring those ideas with you to the to the goal setting meeting. That concludes our regular business for this evening. We do have a few work session items this evening. Item 7A is regarding the 120 South development, I presume. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, first. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm putting in, have permits and everything, and I'm putting a pond in on my land north of my house, which is a city owned, or sorry, city jurisdiction. And have NPS permit, grain permit, so it's all good, but I want to, because of the amount of drainage I have feeding that pond, it isn't quite adequate, and field runoff isn't always ideal for ponds, just with phosphorus and everything. And it's kind of like Miracle-Gro for moss and seaweed and everything. And I want to use the pond. It's not a big pond, but I want to use it for recreation to swim in and everything. And so I talked to Jeff Peterson about, Jeff's not here tonight, but he said, go ahead and talk about it. But to put in a well, water well on that land to just feed my pond. And city ordinance states that you can't have like a well to feed any residential house and stuff like that. And so I wouldn't obviously I'd have to, my attorney was hoping to have it done tonight, but we're putting a draft agreement together for review to say, obviously I wouldn't hook my house up to the well or anything else, and it would be tied to that well, tied to that land and in perpetuity. So it would never, it'd be transferable if I ever sold, which I don't plan on ever selling, but that way you guys are protected and it's all just documented and stated. But I guess I'm just asking for permission to put a well on that 10-acre outlot that I own north of my house. If anyone had any issues with that, Jeff was good with it, but he wanted me to ask you guys, so. I called the county too. Just Jeff wanted me to ask the county, and I called them and talked to the Story County Board of Health, and they had no issues with it either. So, and it'd be Larson Well Drilling, Riley Larson. Larson does a lot of wells. He's very capable and good company. So it'd meet all setbacks and everything. So
Okay, I'm not hearing any objections to it, Chris, so.
So the question is to Riley can either do it this week or in 3 months. And so I need to know if you guys are good pending of, final agreement signed with everybody to do
Is
that.
there anything that needs to go through zoning or anything else? I mean, with that, is there any engineering problems with drawing down the water level at that area? I don't think so.
Yeah,
but I
that's what the
just-
counties was like now. or-
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the paperwork or answered those questions, so I guess that's the only reason I ask.
If this well would be far away from city drinking water wells are miles from here. So would not have any interference with city drinking water wells. The only thing you might want to check on is if you need to get a Iowa DNR permit.
Yeah, Riley, you would fill all that out. Yeah.
The well driller would get that permit from the Iowa DNR, but that's the only concern that I would have.
Yep.
From a legal standpoint. Do we need to do anything? I think that's why Jeff had it come here, I think, because we didn't allow because he had to ask. I think that agreement, is gonna have to be signed by the city allowing him to go ahead and drill that well was the understanding that I had. Because I think within city limits, you're not allowed to drill a well unless you come, ask for permission from council. And I think that agreement from his attorney, would be necessary to just have our attorney at least review it. To make sure that everything was in order. I mean, Forrest, can you think of anything else?
It would take a little while before even operational, and I wouldn't even be using it for probably another month till the pond's finished dug, so I guess would it be a pending use for the signed agreement? I mean, it would be like, again, at least a month before it'd be even needing it.
Yeah, I would say pending legal review to make sure that everything's fine on the legal side of it. I don't
Yeah.
personally see an issue with it.
Yeah, I have one more thing related. I have to, just the easement I'm gonna put across my lot to get power down to it that will directionally bore, but that'd be a separate thing that I just wanna or legally record an easement across my own. I have a house lot and then an out lot that way. Jamie Nobeline thought that just be smart to have a easement in place just in case ever sold or ever, just it was taken care of ahead of time, which made sense. So my attorney's gonna get that written up, but that's a kind of separate deal, a power issue, so. Yeah, okay.
Any concern about them starting here next week?
Again, just be drilling it, but it wouldn't be operational for, until I got power in, until even the pond was done, so it would be all signed documented before it was actually up and running.
Sounds like proceeding at your own risk pending
Correct.
attorney review is acceptable at this point, so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed.
Next up on the work session is the 3Cs parking lot and sidewalk.
Information in your packets about this. So I was tasked to bring this up to you guys. I've been talking to Public Works about this as well. If you look at the photos or if you just walk out here, you'll see that the island in the middle is quite damaged and broken and has been that way for quite some time. Often in the winter months, that's not cleared, and that often is just something that's in the way for when they're plowing our parking lot. So our ask from Public Works was if they could, if we were okay with them removing the center sidewalk, keeping the islands because they have light poles in them primarily. And that way that it's easier for snow removal, and then they would remark the parking lines with a designated area as a walkway, even though most people don't use it as a sidewalk, they just walk straight across. But they said that would also deter potential bumper hitting and things like that. So they would do all this work themselves. So they're just asking for your feedback on this. No, it'd be pavement. It would just be smooth so that they could easily just push snow through.
That sidewalk doesn't attach to any public sidewalk. Does that even have,
I don't believe so.
that doesn't even have the ramps going down, do they? It's just-
Well,
just
at the
flat.
south end, it looks like there might be a ramp.
Might be a
I
ramp.
should just walk out there, but it looks like
Yeah.
there's a ramp
But
at the south end.
I think if you take that down, I mean, it's gonna be accessible to anybody. You're not gonna have that step up or down if you're cutting across. All your ADA parts and everything. Closer to the building. There are any ADA clubs. Spots in the center line. I'm just asking, I don't know.
Would you prefer to have those cars parked nose to nose with my additional frame space in there, or would you prefer to have a lot of? I can. Sometimes it's kind of tight turning in there, it might be beneficial to have that additional. Park cars. What are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't matter to me. I was just told that they like to have the space in between because that avoids potential nose to nose contact. But they didn't think anybody would really use it anyway for the sidewalk, so. Mm-hmm.
We've got,
They would just do it.
there's, this building has $50,000 budgeted for repairs and upkeep. We'll do that in-house. It'll be the cost of the concrete's what will
Mm-hmm.
cost us.
You're just ripping the curb out and just
The center
Replace-
part.
The center part.
Yeah.
Yep.
making it flat.
I guess my personal preference might be to park cars
Nose to
nose
nose.
to nose. Start with that and see what the feedback is. You can always repaint it,
That's true.
so.
So you're okay if they move forward with that?
I'm not hearing any objections, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Item C on the work session this evening is water issues related to Westview Heights Plat 4. Is that Forrest or Dave?
That's me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Murphy.
I just got water on plat 4. Did we know that drainage district was there when they started Westview Heights? Plat 4.
The county drainage district.
There's a drainage district that runs through plat 4, ran through plat 4. That's a county well, it's not really a county drainage district. A drainage district is a group of farmers that the county oversees. But it's a privately owned tile by a group of participants.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would, the developer and the developer's engineer.
we televised a portion of it yesterday, but Matt had received the video that the developers, engineer, or whoever they hired to video all the storm sewer. They ran it, started in the 36, ran it up into the 24, and to where the connection was made, there's actually a concrete collar.
Concrete collar
and
around the plastic
The,
tube.
the plastic tube actually sets a few inches higher than where it's just dropping down, and then I mean, you can see the water going through all the pipes and getting to the 36. It's just not a tremendous amount of water right now, but there is positive flow going in that direction.
Are we impeding the flow anywhere they put that collar in?
No, collars actually.
Yeah, I've seen it. I know what it was.
I know there's positive drainage all the way from the high school, all the way through to the outlet.
I just want to make sure with no water where you don't hear the water there, that we're not backing it up in somebody else's field, that
No.
come harvest time, we're gonna have some damn angry people.
No, we check that, to make sure we've got positive drainage the entire length, and we do. It's just that water is not splashing anymore, but during the televising, water's still running through the pipe. You just don't hear it like you did before, because it's not drowning.
Okay.
And we did have a meeting with the drainage district. They had a couple other, I set it up, Linda Merkin was representing the supervisors are the drainage district folks. So Linda was here along with, Scott Wall, who's the drainage district clerk. Darren Moon was here. They had a couple of folks from, Story County Attorney's Office, and they had their drainage district engineer, who's out of Algona, was on the phone listening, and that was the time when Forrest wasn't able to be here. He was on the phone listening. I know a number of documents have been provided. I can't answer, Darren Moon knew that the connection was made back to Ballard, but it never got to the drainage district board or the commission. When the school rerouted it, that hadn't even gone before them. So we're working with them, the developers working on creating an easement for this. All of the documents are being sent to their drainage district engineer for review and for him to sign off before they're gonna be good with it.
And who's gonna be ultimate responsible for that new rerouting of it? I mean, is that a city thing that we're taking over? Or is that gonna be the drainage district that owns that?
That's yet to be determined, because the drainage district has.
Wouldn't you think we'd wanna determine that before we do something?
We would want to determine that before we accept it. Before we accept it, yes.
Okay. I mean, it just seems like it could be a heck of a burden on the city if we're gonna accept something that's somebody else's.
Right, so we need to get that figured out before we accept the improvements, and that's the way to that.
Okay. Those are the questions I have. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Item D on the work session this evening is Economic Development Local Business Support Program.
As you recall, we've talked about this for some time. We started this project before the council changed. I know I worked with Rory and Nico at the time, kind of shared them the application that I was using in a previous community. I've updated that to fit for the city of Huxley. Rory and I have met again since we did this, as you recall, earlier this year. We amended our urban renewal plan that brought in funds for the splash pad. It brought in funds for this local business support program, and we also brought in funds for the administration of our urban renewal areas. We have $120,000 that's committed this year. This is a matching dollar for dollar up to $30,000 per property. The application would be filled out. It would come through staff review. It would come to council. You would ultimately be the ones to say yay or nay if we were going to fund this application. And then there are a lot of things at the end. They basically pay for the project. Through it, they have to provide a lot of information, their funding, how they're paying for it. Once the project's complete, they turn in all of their receipts, bills showing that everything's been paid, comes back to council for then the approval for the matching funds. If it's a $40,000 project, they get 20. If it's a $10,000 project, they can get 5. But if they do multiple projects on a piece of property, it can never exceed more than $30,000. And we have, by putting this into the urban renewal plan, we've said that we're going to fund this for the next 5 years. So there, over the next 5 years, there's potential of $600,000 going out to match for work that may be done to existing properties or even going towards some new properties if you deem that. I know Brenda wanted to kind of do a big press release on this last week. I told her she had to kind of hold off, even though we had approved adding this to our plan, but I said really needed you folks to see the application, ask any questions you have about how it may work. And I think when we're good to go, I think she wants to put a press release out, and she's already got a few folks that are wanting to maybe copy our idea, so. All of these applications, you'll get the full application back for review. Previous community I was at, some years we had enough to fund the whole thing. Sometimes we had money left over. We had more projects the next year. So the funds will be dedicated, but the hope is to get them invested into the community, into the businesses, and see some positive things happening here.
Reading this, it sounds like you could piggyback this with other grant sources out there. So I'm saying if I'm doing a project, and let's say with the state of Iowa, that they've got some funds out there to revitalize an old building. And I get some funds there, I can still get funds here and piggyback it on.
They're gonna have to put in enough of their own money to match what we're going to match.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that the project's going to be done. So they may have multiple funding sources, whether it's other grants, it's a bank loan,
As long as
whatever.
they match
but
what we do.
they're going to have some skin in the game that's going to match at least what we're going to match for that.
But just to be clear, can that match be grant money or it must be their own skin in the game?
It has to be their skin in the game.
Okay.
Is the way we've always, they may get grant, but they're going to have some of their own money committed to this project, and they'll have to prove that they use their funds.
Thank you very much. Any comments, questions regarding that program?
We will make those changes and make it consistent. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay.
That's why I brought this to you guys, to get some input. I looked at it multiple times until you are just like done with looking.
I do think if we can get the publicity on it for Huxley doing this, it's move forward with that, because that's going to be beneficial for our community.
So we've got these fine folks right out here, so.
Yep.
Any
Brenda,
further?
anything you want to add? I know you're dying to speak.
would be a positive all the way around for that and open the door to more funding sources.
Yeah, we actually utilized that with 3 catalyst projects in my previous community, that was part of our match for that, so.
Yeah.
Any further comments? Hearing none, ask for an adjournment, please.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Etcher. Second by Ms. Roberts down there. All those in favor, please respond with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.